Hi, my name is Luna Arch, and my focus this semester is to bring attention to the drastic difference in funding between NOAA and NASA. The fact that only 5% of our ocean has been explored is proof of the elongated disregard for marine advancements. And to better understand this issue, I chose to use academic articles and journals that address both perspectives in order to create an unbiased argument in my final portfolio. For example, Etzioni's Final Frontier versus the Fruitful Frontier article recognizes NASA to be for its fancy and modern advancements, while proving NOAA to be the more prosperous and fruitful contender. In the early drafts of my academic argument, I partially mentioned NOAA's positive outcomes in the academic and pharmaceutical industry, but I never fully addressed the aspect until draft 3.3. And before including the extra paragraph on medical benefits, the paper did not feel complete, meaning that I addressed enough in the paper for me to feel satisfied, but since this global issue is beyond prominent, I knew that my paper had to be more than just good enough. So addressing that paragraph and addressing the medical and pharmaceutical benefits in my final draft 3.3 really took it to the next level, and it made me feel a lot more confident submitting that draft rather than the previous one I already had. Before this writing process, I felt less than comfortable finding reliable and scholarly sources and using proper diction in certain writing tasks. I would use only the first page of Google as research or Google Scholar at best. However, this course taught me about the library's resources on campus and the library's online resources, and those have been really helpful not only for this course but for other writing tasks I've been assigned this semester, and I'm sure they will be just as helpful in the next 4 years. Specifically, the synthesis matrix was a tool I struggled to understand in the beginning of this process, but after I wrapped my head around it and understood the purpose and the usefulness of it, I began to use it to organize sources for other assignments. And it really just helps me organize my thoughts and organize my sources in one place, and I plan to use it in the future very often. On top of that, the numerous draft requirements encouraged me to continuously improve the preceding drafts, making the final outcome to be more feasibly achieved and more thoroughly developed. Over the course of this semester, I have improved as a writer and as a student tremendously. I am confident in the outcome of this writing process because I have achieved many of the course goals as well as personal goals. The reason I took RC 1000 and 2000 rather than just RC 1000 is because I wanted to make sure I gave myself that extra, the extra help I needed in case, so I could develop into a better writer. I wanted to give myself more support and more resources in my first year as a writing in college, so I could build a strong foundation for what's to come in the next 4 years. And I feel like after reviewing this final portfolio and after reflecting on everything I've done in this course this semester, I feel like I made the right choice choosing RC 1000 and 2000. It has definitely helped me develop as a writer and understand the writing process and rhetorical awareness and critical thinking. I've truly grown as a writer tremendously. For example, I've learned how to research effectively and how to know if a source is reliable or not just by examining the website. I fully understand that writing is a process now. Before, I just used to do 1 or 2 drafts, and then my final draft would be whatever that second draft was. And now I understand that that was not even half of my full potential that I was submitting in the past, because these mini draft requirements have proven to me that I can improve, that I can push myself further in writing and have myself thrive in this process. And by researching the opposite perspective, of my argument, I developed as a critical thinker and became more conscious as a writer. And as I developed as a more conscious writer, my rhetorical awareness improved significantly, and the difference between my first and final drafts of each piece make my growth more than evident. In the final portfolio, I begin with a self-introduction and then a annotated bibliography, an academic argument, the infographic, and then conclude with contact the author. And the reason for the order of this drafts in my site is because as the reader and as the audience move through the site, the articles, the pieces of writing that I included become more detailed, and they all include a bit more than the last one did, and so it remains engaging and it keeps the audience engaged and interested in the topic because I am spitting a lot of information out on this site, so it can be overwhelming. Speaking of, I do have a lot of statistics in my academic argument. Statistics is a big part of this topic in order to understand the issue, and so it can be overwhelming for a reader to just read numbers. It can be so overwhelming, so I decided to include the infographic in this site because it kind of allowed the reader to see the problem instead of just read the problem. And when I see a problem, I process it easier and it becomes more real for me. And that is my goal, is to convey how real this problem is, and I feel like the infographic really helped pull it all together. Also, at the end of the infographic, I included a small section on statistics about why this problem needs to be solved and why it is so significant to our modern day. And that information is just to motivate the reader for change. It's to push change and to encourage change in the reader's mind, and not just to tell them about this problem and not give them a way to solve it. Overall, this course has been more than helpful when it comes to me developing as a writer, me developing as a student. I've learned so many skills over the past few months that I will use for the next 4 years and more. As a writer, I'm very excited to see where I go after this because I feel very confident in my writing, and I feel very confident with this portfolio site, and I hope it conveys, and I hope you as the audience can really understand how prominent and how real this issue is, because change is necessary. Thank you so much.